Oh, hey there. That looks weird, doesn't it? Maybe I should close the curtains. The sun is like setting and I like to watch the sunset. Let's see. Can close some of it, maybe. All of it? Let's see. That doesn't look much better, but whatever. Whatever. Sorry. I moved things around a little bit on my desk and oh, I can't figure out where it should be there. Whatever. And it's not like my seat is not where it should be. Over here more? Yeah, because that's the middle, I guess. Okay. So this isn't going to be like a long video or anything. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. And I'm reading a Dean Koontz book right now, and I thought that might be a good place to start because I wanted to highlight a little bit of it. It's just not even a paragraph that I wanted to read to you guys. Because I think our modern day prophets are writers. I'm starting to agree with that line of thought. And they're not people in like white jackets and white coats. My hair's so flat. The heat is getting to us up here. It's supposed to be 90 or something tomorrow. I'm here in northeastern Ohio. Oh, joy. So, anyways, this is a story time, and hopefully, what I share here can help you in some way if somebody stumbles upon this video after the rough start there. Hopefully, it might help somebody to avoid harm, possibly. And just overall, I say that I expose evil, and it's not like I'm exposing things just to gossip or anything. This brings me no popularity, especially with my own people or my old people. So it is genuinely just trying to do my part and to kind of mend things that I set wrong, because I believe everybody who's been a part of society at this point in time is guilty of negligence and just not playing an active role in advocating for their own lives, not knowing where their food comes from, not knowing where their clothes come from, not knowing if people come to harm or enslaved to bring you products and clothes and jewels and things. I think it's our job. We should do our due diligence. They boycott companies for far less. These are things that we should be exposing to each other. So again, it's not like this is to gossip or do anything like that. It is to try and do my part to help and maybe mend things that I put wrong. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this because Dean Koontz seemed to be a prophet. He's the first one who told us about Wuhan. Before Rona ever come around, there was, I forget the name of the book now, Cold Winter or something. That's not right. White Mountain, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. Anyways, in one of his books, he wrote about Wuhan and a thing that broke out there. And that was back in the 80s. And then in 2020, Rona came. And we all have done the word studies on what that actually means and about the crown and the bow. So I'm not going to go over all that old stuff. Sammy is drinking. I apologize. So I want to read you this like short little thing here. This is a story about, hold on, let me see if I can bring it up for you guys. I'm doing this because, again, there is truth in certain things. And if Dean Koontz is a prophet, maybe we should pay attention to some of the things that he writes about. And again, it's a good way to get past censorship. They don't like people that tell truth here. I remember years ago, probably starting around 2012, 2015, it got really big that a lot of holistic doctors, physicians, people that were experts in treating the body through herbs and holistic means, a lot of them were ended brutally, and it was not nature that ended them. So people that tell the truth here aren't popular, and they will frame you for a crime. They will persecute you. But again, now they're playing this game on TV where they persecute people because they want you to think, oh, that poor person. And I don't buy the whole, shoulder shrug and the little handshake. Like that reminds me of a child when they know they've done wrong or they're trying to be humble, false humility. So I want to see if I can go here. Now, this is called Twilight Eyes, and I just want to read you like 2 sentences from this. First, I'm going to read a real short summary of the book so you know what I'm talking about. It says Slim McKenzie is no ordinary man, and Slim is interesting because I call the spouse now, I call him Slim because that's his name backwards. Because things are so different now, and everybody has like had this internal pole flip, right? And even me, like I'm not even going to deny that I went from having my conscience seared and just like doing harm to myself, not realizing how that was affecting other people, and to being, okay, I really need to like change my ways, right? So it's not like I'm putting this all, I'm a part of this. I'm a part of society too, and whatever change is happening now. So I feel like the best way I can contribute to that is by using books, using pop culture, using songs, using my experiences. Because again, the secret initiation or whatever it is, when it started in 2018, and again, they may have been just testing me to see how far awake I was, because there was a series of events. I noticed people noticed things about me, and I noticed like, oh, I have to not say these things out loud about myself, right? That I shouldn't tell people, I shouldn't tell certain people about my dreams yet. I shouldn't, I can't trust these people because they want to, you're a resource. They want to utilize whatever gift you have, whatever talent you have, even if your talent is, just making money. They're going to use you if you allow it. Here in this place, that's how it is. So this guy, Slim McKenzie, is no ordinary man with eyes the color of twilight. He's been blessed with a psychic gift, premonitions. He's also cursed, for Slim can see the monsters hiding among us, feeding on our suffering. After reading that, I said, I have to read this book. But again, this book is older. It's not one of his newer books, and it's actually banned in a Florida school. It's on one of their banned lists, which I find interesting, considering the stuff that they allow to pass muster. That's kind of how I see things. When I say I can see people's like spirit or read their spirit, that's what I mean. Like if somebody, and I don't want to sound like if somebody is more demonic, if they're more lower level energy, sometimes you can see that. It shows. And the only word I have for that is smarmy, like pirate, like glinting eyes and the one eye and the whole thing just dirty and greasy, and they steal, they kill, they destroy. They do what their father does, their father, the devil. And I'm starting to think now at this point that we do have two different makers, because these other beings are so beyond the pale and they're so different. And I don't, you have everybody trying to find the soul. Where's the soul? Where's the soul? You can't find it. Only God can give it to you. I think these beings, I like to believe anybody could turn to God. Um, Even if he's their father by proxy, right? Even if their creator was Satan. And that's why they don't have that. They don't have that soul thing in there. And I know a lot of people, this is going to be weird and you're not going to agree with it, but I'm going to get to the Uber thing in a minute. So here's what a part of this book that I wanted to read to you guys. It says, I know what I see is not actually the physical goblin itself. This is what he calls these things, encased in some sort of plastic flesh. The human body is real enough. What I perceive, I suppose, either the spirit of the goblin or the biological potential of its shape-shifting flesh. Now, look, I don't know if certain people were human and now they're not because they've perpetuated a certain type of like just nefarious behavior, going out and doing, and I mean serious harm, like just for fun, hurting women, animals, and children. Somebody told me I judged this area a lot yesterday because I saw someone I used to work with. Same woman, very classy, wants to be very classy, always on the go, ha ha ha. Nothing's wrong, nothing's ever wrong with her. She told me when I worked at the Dollar Tree, and again, they wanted me to act out in public. And this is what part of the title, don't be baited, okay? Avoid temptation. Have the gift of the Holy Spirit, have the self-control. There was one day when I was working, every woman whose phone number that I had found in his phone came through my line. And I had to deal with that. And I had to cope with it. And I said nothing, okay? I just waited on them, did what I had to do, went and took a breath, came back. And that was it. So I guess I didn't flip out. So then they had to tell me that my drawer was short. Well, can I count it myself? Oh, no, no, you can't count it. Well, the machine might be off. The calibration might be off. No, no, you don't need to count it. It's off. Now here, sign this, for having your drawer off twice. I'm like, but you gave me 3 different totals. Let me count the money. Anyways, when I say don't be baited, that's what I mean, especially in public. You have these things with like that guy in Tennessee a couple of years ago that did the thing in front of the AT&T place with the trailer, and he left it behind notes talking about reptilians. You have to watch how you talk about this to people because it's so far out of people's scope of understanding until you recognize that seriously, not everybody here has the same heart. So when I say that my spouse is no longer my spouse, that something else is there, and my son is the same, and some of the people that I've met, I believe it's because, and this is where I'm at right now. My mind could change tomorrow, but I believe it's possibly because they weren't baptized. They never heard the faith. It was never spread to them. And so they were an open vessel. They didn't have the seal of God in their forehead, right? So any old thing can come in down in there, especially if you're seeking that, and I didn't think anything of the D&D, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, the fallen angels in the video games. I said no to the telephone. They got them anyway from their grandmother. I said no to GTA because I didn't want them thinking that's how you treated women. They were playing it anyway when I come home from work one day. Be vigilant in your children's lives because a lot of this is coming from the younger generation, and they've played with things and done things that they didn't understand. And now, for whatever reason, our friends, family, relatives have something else hovering there. Okay, so even if these people were gaslighting me and running game on me, because I'm willing to admit, and it's hard to admit that you've been fooled, but I was a mark. Like, that's all I was. I was a mark. I was used as a resource. There was never any love there. It was always what I could do. And I was always the one thrown under the bus. I was convenient to have around, right? Because there's always somebody to blame, to his parents and to whomever. He can always look like a good guy because it's me doing it. He's the same way with his other friend. It's not him stalking me online, it's his friend. It's this guy. It's always somebody else. This is what they do. And you can't misbehave. They will condemn you and accuse you. And again, they come to steal, kill, and destroy. They are feeding on our suffering. Why no Uber? Okay, so, and I had to tell you about these you have to understand the state people are in at this point in time. Do no harm, but at the same time, don't trust anybody. I don't care who it is or whose face they're wearing or what they look like. Something totally beyond our understanding has happened to people, a lot of them. And it's not just the phone, it's not just social media, it's cumulative. It's all of these things added up. Okay? And a lot of it is the eating of meat because there is a curse on that at this point. And I've told you over and over, but people don't want to hear it. They want what they want. And that's fine. I don't want to have blood on my hands, and I want to try and mend. I helped break things too in this world. And so I want to help set them right and keep you safe and help you avoid pitfalls. So don't be baited in public. Whatever's going on, let it rest. And I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to end. I try to start in a place and then tie it all up in like a circle type thing. So I'll go back to that because I'm going to do another topic. But the Uber, how come no Uber? And that reminds me, I had to say it like that because this thing, this AI, this bot, this person stalking me, whatever it is, I've had that asked of me so many times and they get angry. Why don't you just take an Uber like everybody else? So I'll tell you why I don't. And I don't like to address trolls. I'm telling you this because, again, a lot of people are using Uber. All right. And I don't believe you should have a designated driver. You should not drive drunk or intoxicated. But stay home then. Because, again, there's something going on, and these are not the times to be trusting strangers with your food, with your body and your money if you're wasted. Like, these are not the times for that. You saw what happened at these concerts with Travis Scott, the amnesia, the convenient amnesia at the Taylor Swift concerts. Something is up with the frequencies, and it's not good. And the stuff that you put in your body affects that too. It'll react off of that, which is another reason you have to be careful, especially with magnetics. If there's like graphene and everything, and they've got these magnetic frequencies and the Schumann resonance is magnetic, that's going to affect your temple, your body. So again, please be wise. Fix your own food, get a designated driver. Sometimes taxis are better because those people have to be registered. So let me tell you, and this happened also with the Mormon app. When I used the Mormon app, when I downloaded the library because I wanted to read that book, every time I raised my voice and got into an argument with my spouse, I would get a text from the little Mormon girls. Hey, I wanted to send you this verse. And as far as behavior modification goes, it was sweet or whatever, but at the same time, it was very creepy. And it was only after I installed their app. It didn't happen like they had my phone number. And this is what you need to understand, guys. When you install an app into your phone, everybody thinks like that's separate and that like, and I hope you can see with Google now. Once you install an app in your phone, it has access to what else is in there. It has access to the other, and that's not how it's supposed to work, right? That's not how we're told it works. I'm telling you, it's working that way. I know algorithms like nobody's business. You have no idea how much time I've spent just trying to get to know algorithms. And you'll say, well, why don't you have more views? I'm not going to justify that with an answer, okay? Because that number to me means nothing. Everything is the opposite, right? Gosh, and there was a point in there, Jen. Testimony parts are hard because there's a lot there. Okay, so at the beginning, when I was going through this testing or whatever, and my aunt and uncle took me to this escape room, and then we played Pictionary, and again, it was like to see my skills for pattern recognition and symbolism, I think, and how quick I could put A and B together. And that's, again, this is all when things started. That was very weird. My life is strange, man. And I didn't realize how strange until you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, this is very strange. But again, the creator of everything has tailor-made your experience for just you. That's why sometimes we feel like we're the only one that's real, is because God wants us to feel that way. And I'll get to that in a minute. So Uber, my aunt, was it after the escape room or before? Around the same time, my aunt asked me to house sit for her, which is a whole nother thing. And she said, here, install this app and use our name, and the Uber will come get you. Can use our Uber account, and the Uber will come get you. And to me, like, being from the country now, like I hadn't been in the city since like all these changes, that was pretty cool, right? Like I walk everywhere, and I was like, okay, we'll take this Uber. After that app was installed, I started being tracked and traced online, like all the time. That's when all the weird things started happening. Like I kept getting told I had to delete stuff because there was no room. My battery kept dying like really quickly. My phone would get seriously like hot, like it was running a very large system, right? Now, the problem with this also is that when I order from Grubhub and I had them bring food, and I don't do it anymore, when I was ordering from Grubhub and I had them bring food, the person that like is on the picture and their name, it was never that person. It was never that person that it was supposed to be, ever. And a couple of times they stopped at people's houses that I know, the lady who took me to Florida. It just like chilled there. I said, I'm not eating this. Like this, what is going on? Cook your own food. See, here's the thing too. Persecution is never going to be televised, and everybody wants to see guillotines, and that's not what's happening. Think of the purge. Do you know how easy it would be, how much easier it is to target a specific group of people if everybody is using apps and having food delivered and having product delivered? It's not like you're going to the store and picking at random. You're having people bring you food and they know it's coming to you, okay? You know how much easier it would be to persecute a group of people systematically that way in their food, in their products, especially if, say, a nation were invaded and they wanted the resources in the land, but they did not want to damage the land. But they have to get rid of some of the people there because not everybody's going to go along with the program. And they don't want everybody to. They need their citizens to come over here and run things, people they trust that are loyal. I'm giving you different scenarios because, again, there is a lot happening behind the curtain and we're just not aware of it. I'm hoping my testimony helps other people. So when I installed that Uber app, everything started getting bad. I knew I was being tracked. I knew I was being traced. I used to work at a cell phone company. Everybody thought like I was just a bobblehead. And that's been their biggest problem here, is underestimating people. Persecution, tribulation, none of that's going to be televised. So just because you're not going through it doesn't mean there aren't other people going through it. And as far as like pestilence and plague, I don't see people much running out of food where I'm at. Food isn't the problem. It's the quality of the food. And there is no love in people's hearts. That's what is the pestilence. That's what we are lacking at this point. So I would not use Uber. If you use a taxi service, guys, they have a database and they have to uphold a certain standard. They're expected, and they've been there for a certain amount of time. It's not just random, somebody installing an app. It doesn't have to apply for the job, no background check, no nothing. Do not use it. Lyft, I don't know, but I know that Uber, people keep trying to get me, why don't you just use an Uber? And they don't say, like, hey, why don't you call a taxi? Why don't you get a bus? Why don't you take a train? Why don't you get a plane? Why don't you get a Lyft? No, it's always Uber. I'm telling you, do not install, don't even install that app. Okay? People don't understand when you install these apps, again, they have access to you then, right? People aren't getting it. Everything in your phone, your bank account, your passcodes, all of that stuff is accessible then. All right. Again, I used to work for a cell phone company. I know what I'm talking about. Let me give you a little lesson on algorithms too. You know that in your suggested feed, have you noticed yet? Not in your subscription feed, the other one where you can go and see videos that they suggest for you. Have you noticed that people there, they group videos together with people who look alike? That's by design. Okay. That's what it does. Algorithm is like a human brain. We copy everything, right? And so an algorithm detects patterns too. It is like a brain in that way. It recognizes patterns, guys. So over here in the suggested video feed, you'll notice sometimes either the person really looks alike, like you'll see a few people and you're like, wow, is that the same person? Let me tell you a story. There's an account, and I won't embarrass that person now, but there's an account who was commenting and stuff, and I was interacting, and I know by the name of their account that it's sus right away because of what they're calling themselves. But I'm like, you know what? God told me to still witness to these people, right? Even though you can recognize them by their signs and symbols. So now she's commenting on my videos, and now we've emailed. And I say, can you send me a picture of yourself? And she does. Telling you, I know algorithms. A couple days later, I'm going through my suggested video feed, and an account pops up. That's not her name. Boy, it looks an awful lot like her. I said, hey, is this you? And I sent her this. Oh, no, that's not me. I said, funny, a lot of people stopped making videos a few years ago. Was it to change their appearance? What was the deal? And I'm like, she looks an awful lot like you. Oh, no, that's not me. But I hope she's okay if she hasn't posted in that long. And there's a point because this account is not a friendly account. She's a tarot reader and she's always going online inebriated and stuff. Just not a good look, But somebody I don't trust immediately, right? I just don't. I don't trust grifters. I just, that's, and it's not I mean, I don't want to say it is their fault. It's not their fault. Anyways, like people make their money, right? Like carnies and stuff, like I get it. But I was a mark for pretty much 30 years. I'm not a mark anymore. And so I said, okay, that's not you. And today I noticed something going through my pictures because do you believe I save everything? The picture that she sent me and the screenshot that I took from that girl's videos, she's wearing the same damn robe. Huh. But she lied to me. You know how that happened? It was because she had the cojones to come to my channel, to comment a bunch on my channel with a different YouTube account. It doesn't matter because if you have the same VPN or IPN address, the algorithm is going to put you together. That's what it does. Just like when you're on Facebook, that's how I knew he was talking to women. I'm like, I don't know these women. Who are these people? And then I started checking his phone. I'm like, oh, this chick, there's that one, there's that one. The algorithm is always going to create patterns of things that belong together in some way, shape, or form. So when it's giving you suggestions, pay attention because it just might be somebody who's stalking you online. Not that message right there is for TIs, but it's for anyone. Don't have just media literacy like I always talk about. Have computer literacy. Not everybody's being stalked, but at the same time, not everybody it's the Wild West, man. There's no rules. People can apparently do whatever they want on here. Because I never see nothing like the nasty stuff still everywhere. I don't see anybody cleaning any of it up. And again, we're under judgment. We kind of like we've earned what's coming with the way our society is and how we dress our young girls and all of it. Z says, hope all is going well. I don't trust all these little apps, DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, etc. I do not trust tarot people at all. And it's not I don't do tarot. Like, I don't use an object. I just talk to God and I seem to be blessed to receive. I never know when I'm going to receive. And just like with that woman, I started getting suggestions and I'm like, wait, she looks like that same picture. And I want to teach you that that's how it works. The algorithm is going to feed you stuff that on the back end somehow is connected. That's how you figure out who knows who's lying to you, because there's a lot of people right now wearing masks. And that's, again, my spouse said, you're very judgmental. You judge everybody around here. Everybody here has lied. The woman that I worked with that I saw, she had another chance to tell me, I'm sorry I lied to you about something so serious. She told me that this woman I used to take care of that hated me had died and passed. I said, really? I said, that's odd because she was just here yesterday. I said, she didn't look the same, but she was here. She had always had shaved hair, right? But now she was wearing flannels. I don't know if she still had her womanly parts, but she's living as a man. She had all her teeth pulled out. I'm not sure what that's about with people. I don't know why you willingly are doing that and walking around like that. I have no clue. But she told me that this woman was dead. I said, she was just here. I said, why are you? I gotta go. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Yeah, go back to your big house and your fancy car and lie some more. I'm not passing judgment. Everything that is coming, we have earned by this negligence and allowing people to deceive us and not calling them out on it right then and saying, you're lying. Because that's where it all starts, is with deception. It all starts with deception. It doesn't start with lust or any of that first. It's the lie. It's the lie to get what you're lusting after or whatever. It's the lie about who you are because you're scared. You don't want people to know who you are. Whatever it is. And my biggest problem is I'm living in Cana. Literally. I have people who get off on harming dogs and cats and children and women. And everybody seems to think that's just fine. Like, that's okay. I've cried out for help. That didn't matter. So regardless, I'm going to keep pushing and I'm going to keep exposing things because people need to know where they're living. Nothing is what we were told it was. I love my country, but I want to see it spiritually healed and not so sick. And there is no political cure for this sickness. There is no religious cure for this sickness. It is between you and the Lord. That's the cure. He gives you a new heart. He gives you love in your heart. It comes from the source of all that. The grand architect, the source, the creator, maker, baker, fabricator of the whole realm, the firmament and everything in between. up and above, or below and above. Yeah. Here's another story. I had put off getting blood work again for a long time. And I said, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to see what it says. And I'm going to pray a lot before, I'm going to pray a lot after, because once it leaves my body, it's no longer mine. It can do me no harm. Because I'm thinking, well, maybe they want to do spell work with it. Maybe that's what they actually do with it. But then you think of all these blood drives. What is all this blood for? It can't. And think about it for a minute. We have people trying to feed homeless people, and they're told they can't feed them the excess from the restaurants, from the grocery stores, but yet we have landfills full of rotting food. We have factory or warehouses apparently still full of things that were hip in my mom's age, and they're still trying to sell. I know, because when I get it, it's like faded or old or smells really, you can tell. Again, when that 80s trend came back and the stuff came out again, and none of it was new. None of it. Like, I know, because I went to Walmart and they had like records and sleeves, and it was just very strange. Anyways, if that's like that, what are they doing with all this blood that they collect all the time from us? And I'm going to point you back to Dr. Sleep, and that is the sequel of The Shining. And if you have not seen it, you need to see a few key scenes. I did a review of it. The review on my first channel was better, but there is one on this channel of that because it's that important. It's about the mescaline, Johnny Depp, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, adrenochroma, that stuff. So I go to the doctor. And there's somebody, again, there's somebody in my feed that looks just like my doctor. Totally different. My doctor's not in the Rainbow Club, but this person online is. And he's fun. I actually like his show. It's a guilty pleasure, whatever. But it looks just like my doctor. Maybe 10 years younger. And again, I don't have a disease where I just imagine everybody as somebody else, right? Like, I know what I'm saying. Because it's not everybody, right? But again, and this has to do with don't be baited, don't be tempted in front of people, because you don't know how deep this goes. And remember, these beings that are here, they are cursed to walk the earth. Since the flood, they are cursed to walk the earth without a body. Unless, and that's where possession or whatever this is comes in. So when I come out of the doctor's office, after trying to figure out, is he him? Is he playing a part too? Because I'm around just a lot of people that seem to be on YouTube that live in Ohio. And that's why your rent is so high. Somebody take this to TikTok and run with it. So the apartment complexes, right? The Lord told me this. Bet me. The apartment complexes, they're being used by YouTubers because it's cheap overhead and it's cheap rent. So they make it look like it's their room, right? It's their home, but it's their office. They go there, they work, and then they leave. But they're buying out whole apartments. So you get a couple of guys together that'll rent 1 2-bedroom, and one guy will do it from this room, and the other one will do it from that room. They are content farms, but not in the way that the Asian Chinese people are. Like, theirs are way off the chain. Ours are real people, some of them are. And not every AI video, they're saying, oh, this is AI, this is AI. Stop. They're gaslighting you again. Sometimes it is real people and they want you to think AI is that good. Remember, they're calibrating your vision and trying to see what they can do to fool you. All you got to do is pull up a fireworks display from China. They have been using drones for years now. We are not new world. We are old world. And that's why everything's falling apart. I lost my place. I'm sorry. So I come out of the doctor visit. Oh, this person says, on the note of gang stalking, you should look into Roca. The main lady did a TED talk on why we are stalking you. That ish is crazy. Why we are stalking you? Huh. I don't know that I want to know, because I know that they're going to say, we're stalking you to help you and help you to behave better and to improve your life. It's going to be like the Tom Hanks movie, The Circle. Like, we're doing this for and it might make people better. It might make people behave better for a time. But the problem is it's not going to be real. It's not going to be a heart change. That's why false conversions don't work. You can't have a holy war and go into some town and force people to convert, because that's not real. It's not in the heart. So eventually those people you might enslave them for a while, but eventually they're going to turn on you. And it's just that's the truth. So they can think they're doing behavior modification all they want. And yes, I was out of hand for a time, but not like out of hand, right? Like, to me, I was out of hand. But like on the grand scale of things, I wasn't. It should have stayed within my family. Like, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, and again, that's my biggest problem with this. Just repent, man. Just say you're sorry, and I could die on this hill. Like they could end me for this. They don't want to hear people telling them to repent. Like, they don't want to hear this. And I'm constantly talking about, please change. Please just change for our kids, the next generation. Please, before it's too late, before serious like wrath falls upon you, because I know what it feels like to be in that position. And it's not fun, and it's frightening as all get out. And it hurts physically and spiritually. Like, I can't even, there is no description other than you feel like you're being buried by stones. Like you just under God's wrath when you're not under his protection. Sometimes it feels like that, and then there's other moments where you feel like a balloon that's floating and it has no tether, it has no anchor. So, and I'm going to get back to that, but when I come out of the doctor's office, was it after the blood I think it was before I gave blood. It was the same trip, I think, maybe. So anyway, I come out and there's 2 receptions there, and they've had the same receptionist for years. But they're sitting there and they're ignoring me, right? Pretending like, and the older lady is teaching the younger lady, but they're both past 40. And I'm looking at the tops of their heads because that's all I can see at this point. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like my mother-in-law and my mother sitting there. You got the one with the white hair and the other one with the permed 80s hair. And I'm like, oh my God. And they lift their heads up, and damned if they weren't my mother and my mother-in-law. However, there was a difference. Death Becomes Her, right? Everybody's finally watching that movie. It's getting out. Doctor Sleep and Death Becomes Her. Connect those two. They sound different. They don't have the same voices, right? But they both look like, my mom is deceased allegedly in 2015, but I didn't live with her, didn't live near her. Who knows? They both looked 15 years younger, at least. Like, when my mom passed, yeah, they looked about 15 to 20 years younger, both of them. And my mother-in-law is old, so like 20 years from 85 is, I mean, it's a difference, but anyways. Why? Again, we are not here alone. These other beings that are here steal, kill, and destroy just like their father. Their father was a liar and a murderer from the beginning, and so are they. And they don't want to be adopted in, at least not yet. When I said the other day that I didn't think hell was eternal, listen to me. Hell itself is not made for human beings. We don't have to be going there at all. And if you read further into the gospel, it says God's will is that every man shall be saved. It's very possible God's will win out, and this is why he's allowing things to recycle a few times. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's possible. Nothing is impossible, is what I'm telling you. If we are in the time of the Antichrist, is it that implausible to think that him and his buddies, his minions, have the ability to change their appearance? He would be the master of illusion, right? Like Satan. He's going to be Satan's little baby, his little project, right? And Satan is the master of illusion, because what is illusion? It is deception. And sure, you can poke holes in it all day long, just like the labyrinth when Jennifer Connelly tore down the walls and she was actually in a trash dump. That's what people need to be doing. You need to critically think and ask the right questions when certain things come up. DNA never lies. Oh, it doesn't? Well, the man delivering the DNA could lie. That's what I mean when I say critically think and take things a step further. Don't just parrot stuff because it sounds smart, right? Like, because oh, that has a good ring to it. Let me write that down. I'm going to put that on a t shirt, put it on a bumper sticker. Hold up. Wait a second. Wait a second. Slow down. Let's ask questions. I don't know why all these people look alike, but I'm just saying, is it too far fetched to think that the Antichrist would have this ability to do this? And so would his best friends, his buddies, his circle, his crew, the princes of hell. And things are only going to get weirder. Remember, I started talking about my testimony and started talking about the fallen, and suddenly you see this demon syndrome pop up from nowhere. Everything has a butterfly effect. Take what I said about Uber, run it on TikTok, because there are people pushing that app specifically for a reason. Please don't use it. There are people who have been ended, right? And I think the goal, let me take this a step further. Let's critically think about this. What would the end goal be? Well, number one, you're getting rid of certain players. You're getting rid of a certain group of people that you're referring to that app. Again, if they're targeting a certain race, a certain religion, a certain gender, a certain group, they target you first through your digital footprint. Then they figure out how to get, the thing done. Some people, maybe it's easiest in the food. Some people, maybe it's easiest, oh, pick them up for a ride. Hey, that girl's pretty. We're going to take her and we're going to sell her down the road here. We're not going to take her to her destination. Look at her. She's all liquored up too. Let's go, boys. Just tell her parents that we got in a car accident. Everybody's about the money right now because they also know what's going to happen. They know that everything's going to crash, that they've invested in their crypto or whatever it is that's actually going to take place of everything. Nothing is safe now. So if you're going to go out and drink, or if you're going to go do these dumb things anyway that you should not be doing, especially in this time. And again, I'm not like, I get the boys will be boys and that whole thing. Like, I'm not against that. There's nothing wrong with wholesome fun. A couple of guys wrestling, like competitive wrestling or something. Sport. Chopping firewood, seeing who does the biggest, and then a bonfire at night. Music. I don't care. I'm talking about we are in times when you have people who have gone very, very dark. Their hearts are cold. And they're looking for any way they can just to get by, some of them. And some of them, again, we're not the only ones here. And they hate us. They will pretend to be your friend. They believe in keeping their enemies closer. And they will mislead you. See, they make you think that they care about you. And then they suggest all these things to you. Hey, these are really good. You should try these. Hey, this is a really good book. You should read it. Nah, it's not that bad. There's not too much, gratuitous sex in it. Just go ahead. You should read it. It's good. They're always going to push you to do things that aren't good for you. Z says that's exactly the madness that she was trying to say. She was trying to make what she did seem like it was legitimate, but she looked straight evil. Again, I know, again, they're going to turn all of this into like some good thing, or it won't sell to the public. And everybody's going to say, well, I'm not a criminal. I don't care. I wasn't either. But what happened in my life should have stayed within my household and my family. I didn't want to be some beta test who they purposely tried things on just to see what would work best on the American public, because I seemed to like again start some type of butterfly effect or whatever. I don't consent to people being persecuted in my stead. And again, I didn't do anything illegal, right? Like, I strayed on my husband. That's what I did. I didn't mess around with I didn't steal things from people, I wasn't the one doing that type of stuff. People were stealing from me. People were harming me. So again, these people who are saying like, oh, no, it was misused on me. Because again, I wasn't the first one. He was the first one. And for whatever reason, he's going along with it. And all I can think is, what did they have on you? What did you do? What did you do that you joined this shit? Like, that's just, what'd you do? Because I wouldn't join it. Everybody knows my worst secrets. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to try and tie this up on a nice note. There's one thing in this world that you can't live without, and I mean, you would not exist if it was not here. You would not be breathing. You would not be walking. You would not feel joy. You would not suck air. You would not have a face in the image of the one who made you. What else? You could not love. You could not be grateful. You could not eat anything. You couldn't do anything without this. And this is how I know that we have a loving, benevolent creator. So please stop allowing people to gaslight you and lie to you about God, the one who made you. There is another one who pretends to be God, who is not God. Just like the synagogue of Satan, they pretend to be Jews but are not. Read the book. They need to know their Messiah. That's the sad thing, though. They're ish. They're not actually, they're actors. That's not even the right group of people. They don't understand scripture. I can see it when they talk to me. It's very surface level. It's very physical. It's very, what can you do for me? Oh, I gave my shekels. I gave my shekels. I'm good. I'm good. Oh yeah? How many times did you cheat on your wife this week? So this is one thing that you cannot live without, and I know we have a benevolent God because of it. You know that when there are babies born, and I never thought about this, and I'm gonna have to think about this some more, but when there are babies born on the maternity ward back in the day, when babies were actually being born, there would be women there who were just candy stripers. They weren't actually nurses or whatever, but they had women come in just to rock and hold and feed the babies, so that the mothers could have a break. They would sleep, whatever was going on, take a shower, whatever. So they needed women, people to come in and rock the babies because you can actually die if you don't have physical affection. The baby would not thrive, it would not feel loved. If you were not loved, you would not be living, period. And I know that because I'm a mother. I might sometimes seem a little bitter. I might seem a little mad. I might seem harsh. I might use strong words. I have a whole lot of courage, but that does not mean the absence of fear. That means I'm pushing forward regardless of the fear that I carry. I, last night was the 4th, and I'm going to tell you this part of my testimony because, again, I don't want blood on my hands. I don't know who I'm living with. I just don't understand. I've lost 2 dogs already in a year. The one I'm pretty sure had the big C, and I'm pretty sure it was given to him. Because I told you that you can give that to people. All you have to do is break the skin. If you have something in a injectable and break the skin, you can give people the big C. That's why there's this explosion of it now after 2019, and it goes very fast. Me myself, I'm not going to get diagnosed. Like, I'm not going to the doctor, none of that, and I never consented to an injectable. But that night when I was violated here in my bedroom by boys that I had helped raise and one of my own sons being present, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. How many, like, according to these people, my life has not occurred. Man, if none of this happened, I should be writing it down, making millions of dollars being a fiction writer for stories like this. You think I want to make this stuff up? I want to save other women from going, and men. Ugh. We're in Rome, man. We're in Rome. Watch Game of Thrones and watch how the people connived and who was sleeping with who. Like, it's bad. Look at the old Greek art. It's always a bunch of naked men. When in Rome, right? All roads lead to Rome. So I got told last night by the pseudo spouse that our son had hit a dog. I said, what? He said, yeah, did he call you? I said, what do you mean he hit a dog? He said, well, and then last night he went out with his friends for the first time in a very long time. I didn't actually see the friends because, again, I have suspicions about things, but I'm not going to get into that because I'm not. God, certain things are just for me, and God tells you things just for you. So anyway, he says, yeah, and he said something about there was dogs laying all over out there. I told you my dog's jaw was broken, but he has such long fuzzy hair that it took me a while to notice this. And then he's limping, and I'm thinking, well, he's just getting old. He's just getting. But every time certain people were around, there's something else wrong with my dog. And I'm supposed to think there's no connection there. So first I tell this spouse, I said, the other day you asked me if I would be an activist, and I said something like, nah, that's not really my thing. Most of them are actors. But when I was a kid, what I really wanted to do was go to, because I had seen Project X, where the monkeys were being used for radioactive testing. Um, I said I would go to the pet store and I would set free a bunch of dogs, a bunch of puppies. I said, it's really odd that I said that to you. And then now this. I said, I'm going to check his car too, because I don't know that I believe you. Well, I said, I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't believe you guys anymore. You're dangerous because you lie about who you are every day. That makes you dangerous. You're also dangerous because you're negligent. You've allowed harm to come to me over and over and over again. Any good husband, when I first said, hey, I'm being stalked online, if it wasn't him, would have been like, what do you mean? Well, they're using my name and they're getting into my emails and I'm not sure what's going on here. He'd have been like, hold up, what? And he would have made us shut everything down, started everything fresh, da 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 da. He could not get rid of his for some reason. And I wasn't allowed to use it to play video games. My son said, here, play with me. One of the last times he ever said that. And his dad freaked out. Oh, you can't be on there. You can't be on there on his username. So I said, I don't know that I believe you. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, but if it is true, I said, that's not my son. What do you mean? I said, my Dean, if he is still in there, is stuffed way deep down inside. My boy is way down in there. So how long do you deal? I don't know how much more trauma I can deal with. And I'm not talking, I've no desire to hurt anyone else or myself. My biggest, I'll go in the woods and live alone, away from people. I have a roof over my head. I have AC now. I look like I have a good life, probably to some people. To me, it's hell. That is hell. Look, I'm doing a video. There goes the sirens. Oh God, they're close. Every time a TI does a video, you'll hear sirens. Every time. Every single time. I don't live in a city. It used to be planes till they started rationing gas or whatever's going on there. But I wanted to tell you that little part of that story because it's important that you know who you're dealing with. People that are negligent, that sit by and watch evil, they are dangerous. People that lie about who they are every day, they are dangerous. We should be judging at this point in time because our behavior is bringing down the wrath of God upon the nation. But nobody cares. Maybe all of history is a lie. Maybe God won't do anything. Maybe. Tell that to Noah. Pretty sure that definitely happened. Z says it was misused on me as well. Things got real crazy around Rona time. They just wanted me gone and they failed. Yeah, that's all it is. They don't want people who are independent thinkers. They don't want critical thinkers. They want you dumb and they want you fat. True. People keep thinking we're going to get in this time of pestilence. That is not going to happen unless God lets it happen. You have to understand that. Stop talking about the controllers. We got to start doing that too. If you say you're a believer, you got to give the glory to God. Make people understand that there is a God in heaven, right? Because he's probably looking down and he's probably horrified. I thought until just a few months ago, mind you, like I was badly in a state of dissonance. Like all the abuse and stuff. People say, oh, well, don't be a victim. Don't have victim mentality, this, that, the other. You don't get it. Like, you don't understand. when somebody wants to control you and they go to certain lengths to do that, like, you lose who you are. It's very hard to get back to that. The things that I've went through are things that, was it Chinese water torture? No. Am I in a 2x4 cell? No. But for me, it is the worst that it can be because I'm seeing my family in a very degraded state. That's the worst thing for a mother. So again, when you think that we're not in a time of tribulation or persecution, shame on you. There are people who've lost their lives trying to speak the truth. Look at all the elderly people that Cuomo, if that's real, if that happened, that one I don't doubt. Again, I had a spouse who used to come home every night. Hey, how was work? Killed a bunch of homeless people. Why is that funny to people? I just want to understand. In what situation is that ever funny or appropriate to joke about ending people? Unless you're in a locker room of Vikings and it is the medieval times. When is that funny or humorous? Because I don't get it. Look, 2 people left. One of them was probably him. I don't care. You can't condone the evil anymore. We can't do it anymore. We've got to stop condoning it. And again, do no harm, but use your words, use your voice. Because I promise you, the second that you start, it gets easier and easier and easier. Make a video. Tell people about your experience, Z. Tell them I was targeted. This is what happens. And I think it's because X, Y, and Z. This is why. I was sharing knowledge to others that they didn't want out and turned down their offers. I didn't get any offers. They knew better with me. Like, I outed myself. I told on myself. I confessed. Like, I just, you know, I and they tried to buy me. Like, they think they've bought me because they said, "What's more important to you than anything?" And I'm like, "Well, love." And again, when he had first gotten out of jail after pummeling me, he asked me something really dumb, like, "Well, what do you want? You'll divorce me and you'll just want alimony or something." I said, "All I've ever wanted is your companionship." Like, and again, they ask you stuff for a reason because then they're off the hook for like accountability. And again, this is how blind they are. You can't fool God. You can't fool if you believe in Anubis and the scales of justice and that Lady Justice is blind. Okay, yeah, all she's doing is weighing things. You can't fool your own heart in the end. It will still weigh more than it should because you've done these nefarious things. Just because your conscience isn't working doesn't mean deep down your heart doesn't know the truth. Like, whatever it is, you cannot hide, man. We've been trying to hide since the garden. That's the problem. And Adam is still trying to throw all the Eves under the bus. Like, that's a big problem for God in these times. God is not happy. There's a reason innocence and beauty are being taken from the planet, from the plane, from the realm. And I told you what he said about the children, that had already been done, that there's a reason they're behaving the way they are, because they're not children. They have to make it look like they're still children here. Watch people's videos, look in the background. Look how empty Disney is. Look, and now they're finally catching on to empty airports, and I don't even want to get into that again. There isn't half as many people as they talk about there being. They can't possibly, and that's the thing, they can't really veil all of us either. Not if the nation is as big as they say it is, it's impossible for a government to do that. Now, could the fallen do it? I mean, I'm sure they could, but do they have legalities or legal rights to do that from the Most High God? Like, are they able, or is that stepping over, the bounds? Because you have to understand legalities when you're dealing with other beings. Again, in the hierarchy, if you're a human being and you don't have an attachment and you don't have a demonic attachment, you are higher in the hierarchy than them. You can tell them to go, and they, by rights, should go. I'm having an issue here. I feel like I am that woman in Tobit, that she kept getting engaged and the demon kept killing the men. Like, there's something around me. Everything of physical importance that I ever, like my dad's red scarf, gone. Like, this individual has come into my life and takes everything that matters to me. And I'm still, like, I can't figure out if I'm here Does God actually want me here? Like, I don't want to be manipulated no more. And you shouldn't want it either. But we have a benevolent Lord. We have a benevolent Creator. Because you cannot live and breathe and love. You can't live and exist without love. Just like those little babies in the hospital. You cannot thrive as a spirit, as a being. If God did not love us, we would cease to exist. Everything would stop. Now, why there are other beings that are still wicked, I'm not sure about that. Like, I'm like you guys, we see through, we see darkly right now, still a bit, no matter. And this is why I say clean out your temples, be very careful about what you're putting into your temples. Z says they offered me money, and I told them some things cannot be bought. When they amped things up, my response was to make a couple different playlists public. Truth, Indescribable, and The Pyramid. Yeah, your truth playlist kicks butt. Like I don't think I've been through the whole thing. I'm glad you reminded me. I don't think I've been through the whole thing yet. Z, if you check out the comment section now, if you're watching later or whatever, and I always have it set to replay, check out Z's comment because this person has the best playlist. And I think I might have saved the one that's labeled truth, but there's a lot of good ones in there. Indescribable. I don't know if I've been through that one yet. And The Pyramid. I don't know if I remember that one either. I remember the title because I jumped around like that whole day. That was when I saw that because I always vet people, and I'm not gonna apologize. I'm sorry, not sorry. You should vet everybody, especially if you meet them online. Go check out their account. Go check out their channel, their page. See how long they've been on here. If it says joined 2 days ago and it's somebody that you seem to be bumping into video after video after video, that person's stalking you. That's a stalking account. Whether it's a stalk account, I don't know. But they're stalking you, and it can be done. I've had it done to me. And again, everything looks like magic unless you understand the inner workings of it. And I understand how algorithms work. This is why people keep coming back to the channel, I think, is for those bits of information that I give them about stuff like that. And like I said, algorithms look for patterns just like we do. Pattern recognition is off the charts with algorithms. And that's why you have to figure out, like, okay, what time am I going to upload? Am I going to be consistent with it? Should I pay attention to the analytics? I have been playing with my algorithm because I'm testing it, trying a few different things because I need to know if I'm hidden because I asked God to hide me or if it's the doings of man. Because if they're just not letting people see me, well, then I'll just have to do something else because this is what God wants me to do. And I think he wants all of us to do this. We're all supposed to be speaking up at this time. Everybody says, oh, well, God, look what God let happen. And we don't need God. Look what God didn't do any of this. God gave us a beautiful home and we've trashed it. And like rotten kids after one of them 80s movies, we want to just go running off after the party and make dad and mom clean up. And we're not going to learn anything if God just plucks us up out of situations. Like the parents don't do that. Parents that love their children discipline them, and they don't operate that way. I've tried to tell my kids that, like, look, this is not what's best for you, and I'm sorry that I brought you into this situation with these people, but this is not love. This is not what that looks like. They didn't want to listen to me. And now, God forbid, they might not even be in charge of their own temple. There's an antichrist in there. Like Daniel says, it's already in the temple. This is why they call these the temples, right? What do you think of here? The Twin Towers, some type of towers, okay, of your consciousness, binary. These are your temples. What's this? Your third eye, right? What sits in there? Your soul. Aha. But what if your soul isn't in there anymore? What if they get your soul out of there? Well, when there's a there is no empty space here. When there's a vacuum, something comes in there to fill the hole. I've tried love and kindness. I've tried showing what I believe to be righteous anger more than I should probably. I've tried expressions of love, just the doing for them. None of it's working. None of it has worked. Seeing me in pain and be persecuted only brings them more joy. and it was supposed to change them, I thought. Maybe it's just supposed to change me. That will be a hard truth to swallow. Because again, for me, it's not heaven unless my family is there. But we're thinking with human brains. We're gonna look at all these things differently from the other side of things. And I don't think, again, I think people are gonna be more pleasant. Most people, mankind is going to be pleasantly surprised with how things turn out in the end. But like any parent, you've got to bring your child. Sometimes you've got to tell them no. And sometimes when they fall, you've got to let them get themselves back up. And it's not easy being a parent to sit back and do that. This is why I believe that women, especially mothers, understand God more in these days, because if you're not a parent and you haven't been a loving parent, it's very hard for you to understand why it looks like hate to you. Why'd you tell me no? You must not love me. Why won't you fix this for me? You must not love me, right? That's what children think, because we are God's child. Why aren't you fixing this, Lord? Why don't you love me enough? I've asked it because I'm his child and I go to him as a child. And then I realize what I'm saying and I'm like, oh, you want me to do something. Like, I've got to figure this out. Okay. Right. Now he's giving me information and giving me like little baby steps that I can and should take. And mostly it's about working on my own heart and bringing my heart back to life. And again, I know how hard it is. So I try to be patient. The pyramid is very enlightening. I'll have to check out that playlist too. Like I said, I know the truth one is awesome. I still have not made my way through that yet. The people in these groups or are just possessed. Groups and organizations are just possessed, enjoy our suffering and pain. That is the tragic part. Some people talk about reptilians in that way. Look, I've never seen an actual reptilian, but I have seen people's faces change. That's why I read you a little piece of that Dean Koontz book, because that's how it is for me. His books are like, it's like he's in my head. Seriously, like Whisper Room is all the Whisper Room and the Crooked Staircase, that's all about targeted individuals. And it says why the government and these secret agencies, it says why they target people, because they will bring a certain idea and frequency to the forefront and they can't have that. They have to stay in control. So even if it looks like, and it's usually is a good person, or what we would call down here a good person, someone who has motivation or inspires or is good with words, whatever, somebody that's going to change the course of that societal corner of the world, that they get rid of them. But man, if you want to know what life's about, Dean Koontz is really good, and he's much better than Stephen King because he always ends with hope for humanity. And again, I always go back to that Hands Across America thing that I was a part of as a kid. Everybody in the whole city was holding hands. Like, I've never been part of something where it just felt so good. And I was little. I was like literally crushed by people in the middle of the street, and it was freaking awesome. I know that we can be better for each other, and I know that we can have decent communities, and I know that we can come together when somebody needs us, but we're not doing that now. And we need to go back to basics, and we need to go back to fundamentals, and we need to go back to doing it in person, and we need to shut down the internet because AI is the beast. I don't know how many times to say that, and I'm going to say this in a way that I hope people understand. I wasn't planning on this, but it's here now, so I'm going to do it. That older Bible that I have from like 1915, it talks about the end days, and it talks about the beast actually being eaten, okay, like seafood. Just give me a minute. I'm going someplace with this. When we use AI and we're told about those emails about how just one question, it uses like 200 liters of water or some outrageous number. Forget about that for the ecosystem for a second with that. Water is life. Things that need water are usually living. I think AI, when it's answering questions and all that stuff, I think it's the beast. I think whether you want to call it a Ouija board, a divining rod, whatever you want to call it, I think we're tapping into the consciousness of the beast that is literally in the abyss, in the ocean, probably in the, what's that called? The marinara sauce, Jen. That trench that starts with an M. I'm sorry. What is it called? Not marinara. Dang it. I hate when I have to look stuff up. I gotta put them down too. And again, I'm talking to myself here. I'm not just talking to some random biggest trench. Why can't I remember the name? Mariana. I'm gonna say marinara. Mariana. I think I need a sandwich. All right. So yeah, that's what I think, that AI is the beast, and people don't want to hear that. Even Christians are like using it up, and it says that like we're all gonna drink from the cup, and there's more than one beast, but I think that the beast of the ocean is like what we're tapping into here, and that scares me. Absolutely, it absolutely scares me. But I'm gonna bounce because this video has been long enough, and I'm actually gonna, I think, have a sandwich, which will be good. I hope you guys did have a good 4th, but please be on your toes because it's his birthday month and all. I remember back in the day when things were normal, at least for us. My spouse always called it his birthday month. Keep telling you guys, this Antichrist spirit has a lot in common with the one I married. All of it. All of it. Watch for the 14th, which is Bastille Day. 14th, right? Yeah. 14th, that's in 9 days. And the 17th, because that's his birthday. And also, August, in the beginning of August, my son will be 22. So if what I think happened actually happened, that would be his big day, August. If I'm right about that. I don't know. See, because again, some of these people are playing 2 parts, and I know that doesn't make sense to everybody, and I can't do any better than that. I can't bottom line it any better than that, because it's so, again, so far out of the realm of what people understand to be life in this place. And you don't know until you come face to face with the supernatural. And I say supernatural because it is supernatural to us, and God is supernatural. When you come face to face with that, you can't unsee it. You can't close the door on that again. And there's only 2 ways. You're going to go the narrow path, or you're going to go the left-handed path. And God knows who's who. And the dumb questions from the atheists, just don't fall for that. Do you know what God you're praying to? I don't need to. God knows. God knows who I'm praying to. Be wise as serpents, but blameless as doves. Do no harm. Man, use your words. Ask questions. Think critically. Go a step beyond what the media is telling you, like chess. Take it a step further and see if you can get to their end game. And if you can't get to their end game, then you've got to look at, okay, what is the end game with the cars? I'm sorry. That's where the end game with the Ubers. Okay, so the end game with the Ubers. This is my thought. This is where Trump and Elon might come back as, loving each other. Okay, so if enough people have some type of accident via this Uber app, then that's a reason to convince people that they should be like total recall and have self-driving cars out there and trust them and not humans. They're already out here. This is why you're seeing all these tinted windows. I'm pretty sure everybody didn't just suddenly decide to have tinted windows. Again, it's to make the population look bigger. I think those are self-driving cars. So I think that that's where they're going to go with this. And I said it years ago when the first attack happened on the London Bridge. I said, I'm not even going to get a license because they're going to outlaw cars. Like, I can see it happening. They've already tried to control, they basically say the fork is a weapon. They tell you you can't have a giant drink in New York because of the sugar. It's not about health and safety. If that were the case, there'd be no war. If they cared about saving lives, there'd be no war. They would not keep drafting our young men. Like, that wouldn't happen. It's not about saving lives. It's never been about saving lives. You always got to go a step further than the media is taking you. But I think what's going to happen, I think if they have enough accidents with this Uber thing, right? Or enough people disappear, whatever happens there, whatever, like I told you, think the purge with that app. Do not use it. I think they're going to roll out the self-driving cars. The only way to get people to do these things is for their safety. They're going to do the same thing with the chips and the missing 411s. Chip your kids. We've chipped your pets already. Watch, I bet you there's already commercials for it somewhere that I just haven't seen. It's safer. They'll never get kidnapped this way. You never have to worry about little Johnny going missing now. Really? No? Because they shouldn't be already. You guys watch everything. You guys have cameras everywhere. Why are these children going missing? Some of them from their homes. So again, please understand where you're at and act accordingly. Behave accordingly. Do no harm, because again, if you harm them or you touch them, you open up legal rights that then allows them to do the same to you. I think that's the only reason my ear got hurt was because that day when I pushed the bathroom door open and it bounced off his butt. And again, he's a big guy. It's not a heavy wooden door. It's one of them apartment, like it was not bad. I'm being honest. But that gave him the excuse that he needed. I saw his face as he did it in the mirror. And he looked like his goblin self. He looked like his nasty self. Years ago, when I saw that shadow on him, I thought it was my imagination. I thought you're just seeing things. And this was years ago. This was before I went back to God or anything. Oh, I'm getting the right ear ringing. And I didn't remember it until, geez, probably just a year ago. I started again. The more you clean out your body, the more things clarify up here, like that fog leaves. And that fog is intentional. Trust me. If anyone's ever seen The Exorcist, and when Reagan's on the bed, it's one of the deleted scenes, and she reaches up to the sky, and for a minute it's not her, it's like the shadow demon like is behind her. That's how I saw him. And if I'd have known like that was a real thing that I saw, I would have left. But right that second, I thought it was me. I thought I was imagining things. But now all these years later, these things are starting to make more sense. And this does not make me any more popular. I will die on this hill, probably. And again, people need to see to believe. Christ overcame death. We will too. I think we're supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to be buried. I can think what I want to think. Why should all of you care so much about the trolls I'm talking to? Why do you care what I eat? Why do you care what I think? Why do you care what God I worship? It's not up to you what I do. Not. It's up to me. You go do what you're going to do. If you think that all of these fun and games are good for society, that they're good for your family, that this will be beneficial to your business, to have a bunch of derelicts everywhere. But I'm going to worship the God I'm going to worship, the one true God. I am going to abstain. I am going to be as pure as I can day to day. So hopefully it'll rub off on people around me. Look up the St. Patrick prayer and say it every day. Let every eye that sees me see Christ. Let every ear that hears me hear Christ. Every day. I don't do this for popularity. I do it because I love you. And I do love you. I just don't want to be around anybody right now. I don't trust anybody. Because people have lost their minds. People have lost their minds. And it's only going to get worse if people keep eating the meat. Go look at I'm not a doctor, no part of this is medical advice, but go look at how many diseases are attached to that lifestyle. I don't care what influencers are telling you. They want your money. They don't want you healthy. Those people are where they're at right now because they belong to Satan or because they are a tool for him to use. Stop listening to people that don't care about your well-being. We've been lied to about our own bodies. We've been lied to about the calendar. We've been lied to about the map. We've been lied to about the shape of the realm. We've been lied to about who we are. I've been lied to about my own body as a female. And I'm not going to get into that right now, ladies, but you really need to clean up what you're putting in your body, and it will all become clear here. I promise you. Promise. All right, I'm going to bounce now. This video has been long enough. I'm going to have a sandwich with some hummus, I think. You guys have a blessed night. Thank you for being here. If you missed a part, go back a little bit. Please don't take things out of context. Make sure you understand what it is I'm saying when I'm saying it. There's my cutie. Sammy! Sammy! What you doing? What you doing, Sammy? It's time to go outside. Bye, guys. Okay, we're going outside.